Okay, we'll start again. So it's a difficult ice, which is why I made this chart. So let's begin again. Ice Gimel. There's a number of questions. Not going to repeat all the questions now. Just launch into the beer over here, and then we'll circle back to the questions when we get to them. So V'yuvan Zebehektem Amavu B'Torah B'Drashi Purim. We'll understand the aforementioned questions. One of them, which was Eden did have Mesiras Nefesh. So why is it a miracle? Why is it a miracle? Take fish on this that the king's sleep is disturbed. Rabbi says in Mesiras Nefesh for a whole year. That's one of the questions. So to understand this, we'll preface what it says in Torah of the Alter Rebbe, Baruch Bedrush Admur. I'm saying at length. In the Maamar of the Alter Rebbe, the B'Yom Gilui Balilah Helem. So Yom, the whole thing is Balilah Hahu, which we said is a double darkness. So Yom Gilui, Yom means revelation. Night means concealment. Both have a Zeh and both have a Hu. Gil Zeh, this, as we explained yesterday, means revelation. Hu means concealment, as we explained, third person. Sometimes we find Yom HaZeh, the Zeh made al Gilui. Zeh means revelation, so that's a kind of double. The Gilui is Begilui. Well, the problem Ksiv Yom HaHu, and sometimes it says Yom HaHu, that day. So Yom is revelation, but that revelation is concealed. The Hu made al Helem. Again, Hu, as we explained before, conveys a notion of concealment, not present, not experienced. The same is true of Laila. Laila, which altogether is Helem. So sometimes there's this Helem, and sometimes there's that Helem, that concealment. What does all this mean? So learn the Maamar inside, then we'll look at the sheet. First of all, there's this distinction between the notion, the words, what they represent, day and night themselves. The Yom Ha'u, V'laylu Chayshech. Yom means revelation, night means concealment. Mishakoseh Vayikra Elikim L'Oir Yom. Hashem called the light day. It's not pasha that Yom means the day means light. It does. V'lachayshech Koralayla, and that night means darkness. We need a pasuk to prove that the night is called darkness. That's the chiluk themselves. Now, keyword. Another distinction is the way they are expressed or their state of being. Each one of these two inyonim of Oir and Choshech respectively have a matzav of Zeh and a matzav of Hu, revealed or concealed. The Lashon Zeh benegel Yom v'Layla Moira. So when we use the word Zeh with respect to each of them, that indicates Al Hayom v'Layla. Here, key point. So down here there is open night and open day, open revelation, open concealment. The concealment is clear; it's apparent. That's when the pasuk uses the word Zeh. Or the Lashon Hu. When the Torah uses the word Hu with respect to day and night, we're referring to them in their source, higher than revelation. The fish before they're revealed. So that's like the before they are revealed doesn't yet mean they're absorbed within their source. It's in between, as we're learning in the previous Maimorim, in between the way it is in the source and the way it's revealed. That's clear. That's why he adds how much more so. I'm sorry, they are on their source. And that's why by Yetzias Mitzrayim the pasuk says, So Yetzias Mitzrayim was a patent, transparent miracles. So that's why it says, not that day, but this day. The mitzvahs. Likewise, Torah and mitzvahs, Kamoishem Achshav, as opposed to loss of love. What are you looking for? You have the minor. This is the wrong minor.
Oh, there's one.
So if you know what they kept there, the should I assume I just picked up but didn't look. Well, the guys took them. Then I even made 10 copies or so. 12 copies. Okay. So likewise, Torah mitzvahs in brackets, Kameshim Akshav as opposed to Lasad Lavoi. Here too, it's described as an experience that is not who but zeh. Ksiv hayim hazeh, Hashem lakech matzavchan. This day Hashem commands you to fulfill all the mitzvahs. However, ubagula asid ksiv, the final redemption, it says v'ma bayim ahu. Why? You found a few. Good. Ki agilu isha. What was the nature, the quality, the level of the revelation of godliness? That's a revelation of light. Now, it seems the pshat here seems to be it's a revelation of oid that to begin with can be revealed down here. It's oid in contrast to what? But when Mashiach comes to be the revelation of the etzem, which is fundamentally higher than revelation, and that's why it's called who, Lashon Nister, third person. And yet, that's going to be the Chiddush. By Yoimahu. So the Gilui of the etzem, that's higher than revelation. In other words, it's essential. Essence is not revealed by its very nature, that will be revealed. And therefore it says Yoimahu. That was all illustrating the Indian the way it is what? By Yom. The two states of Yom, Yom Zeh and Yoimahu. Same thing is true of Laila. Next paragraph. Then we'll look at the sheet, which is the summary. Now, there is a benegir Laila. Likewise, Laila. What is Laila? Laila, its virtuous sense, means this is the Yoshes Choshech sister we learned about in the previous Maimon. Even though the Mamar in between, but that's the last time we learned, Parshas Yisrael. Here is darkness higher than revelation. Again, just remember, revelation means by definition other. There's no other for God. So therefore, that level where there's no otherness, that's called metaphorically darkness. So Laila goes on Cheshech Shalamayla Gam Etzem, even higher than Etzem. These are the darkness we learned about at length in the Basi Lagani Hamshech, if you remember. Yechoiles Mo'ir Etzem Mo'ir 3 Tzimtzumim in Atzmos, the big Chiddush of Tavshin Memhei, those rare places in Kabbalah speaks about the Tzimtzum, which we learned at length about, right? So Choshech is even higher than Etzem Mo'ir. Choshech Atzmoi. So the Choshech, this dark itself, if nation before it is revealed, that's the Chiddush, it can be revealed. God reveals His essence. Especially as it is in the Shoresh Mamash Choshech. I just identified 3 darkness. 3 darkness. He mentions here Etzem. Before that, I told you is what? Moir, and even high as Yechoiles. And so these are all deeper levels in the Shoresh. So for sure there, obviously there's we go deeper in essence. Nikra Laila Hahu. That darga is called Laila Hu. That's the way it is where? In the Shoresh. There, that, Nister, it's not our experience. However, that's the whole Chiddush, when it's been revealed down here, it's called Laila Hazeh. Okay, so far so good. Ella, so get this clear now. Which one is higher? Right now, these 4 lines. What's higher? Laila Hu or Laila Hazeh? No, it's not a mystery question. Yeah, Laila Hu. Give us some more words. Laila Hu is what? The way it is in the Shoresh, and Laila Hazeh. that is drawn down. Now, Elo comes a very subtle observation. And we have to unpack it, but let's see what he says. Elish benegel Laila, when it comes to the union of Laila, at the end of the day, after adding these words, at the end of the day, not the geographical level, but at the end of the day, the significance, the consequence. Laila Hahu lamatim Laila. Laila who ends up being lower than Laila Zeh. That's an astonishing statement. We just said that Laila Hu is the Darga Velikus, which is called metaphorically Choshech, and the Shoirish. Higher than revelation? No. I'm stressing the words end of the day because not the levels you just laid bare. But what does he mean by it? What this big Ella? Because the end of the day is like, therefore, what does this produce? The fact is that the concealment, Lamaila, this is also the Hemshech to Basi Laganim, which he makes the point later, I think, that the Choshech, which is that level, it's Atzmi's level that is called dark because it's beyond the whole notion of revelation. Well, that is, at the end of the day, or the Koyach HaGvul, at its deepest level, is the source of Golus, of Choshech down here. When he says Choshech Kipshuta, he means spiritual darkness. And therefore the concealment, the Choshech Kipshuta, literal darkness. He means a ruchnistic literal darkness. That would draw on this level of Laila Hahu. It's a terrible darkness when that manifests down here. It's a greater choshech, greater concealment. It's a deeper darkness than drawing down the level of etzim ha'or, a level that is or, but still called choshech, but it's a choshech sheba b'amshocha. The Laila hazeh choshech. Laila hazeh, that's still inyan of or. The Laila, so what does that produce? The Laila has an oir, a choshech that is still has not etzim mamish, but is connected to revelation in some way, which is what Laila hazeh, who shalayla ba'ifan dezeh. So that'll produce a darkness that you know it's darkness. You know it's choshech. Shenirgesh begilui, it's felt. Vad legilui shevshel hadis be'etzim le'mazeh. So it's so obvious that you can point to it. Dezeh means, there's no masquerade here. This is dark. This is no good. But when the Laila who is expressed down here, who shall Laila who ba'ifin the Hester, the Laila, and then the who covers the Laila. It's so dark we don't even know what's dark. Shein and Nirgish Laila, that's a deeper hell of a Hester. And I'm going to make the point. I'm making a parallel. We're all familiar two levels of Klippa. It's similar. Maimon doesn't say it. I'm just putting it to give us. Laila hazez klippas satmeis. Klippas noiga. It's klippa, but it's klippa. You have to elevate it, deal with it. But Laila Hu is an utter concealment. The lower, where the darkness itself is concealed and not given to revelation. It's not exactly mamish, but a similar union. Okay, so let's look at the sheet that you all have, and with the hope that it will contribute and not confuse. And then he adds, by the way, a brackets, which completely a whole different beer. Everybody has one? Moishe.
Did you post it?
Yes. You have it in the Chassidus chat. Right? No? Yes. Yes, there. Chaim, you don't see it. Do you?
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
There it is, yeah. Okay. So, Balilah Tafshin Chalfei, this is Sifim Gimel Dal that we just learned now, although we didn't finish. Dal, this is a big brackets. Okay. So, Yoim, Giloi, Oir, they're all interchangeable. There is revelation. So, in the red, there's two matzavim. There's a Zeh and Ahu. Let's see. So when Yom Gilui Oir is referred to as we mean that the revelation, nimshach lamata boifin goloi, there's a revelation down here that's experienced, point with the finger, and we can experience it. And that is Gulas Mitzrayim, for example. That's why the Pasuk says in brackets, he uses the words, Betzim hayoim hazeh, both yoim and zeh, is a revelation. But what kind of revelation? That's experienced. The 10 Makkos and so on. And so, similarly, Matan Torah, the Pasuk says, Hayim hazeh Hashem lekechem b'tzavcha. Moishe says to the Yidden, today God commands you. Hayim hazeh, both gilui and zeh. That's when the Torah uses the expression Yom Zeh. By Yom Hazeh. When the Torah uses the expression by Yom Ahu, which is really referring back to Lasid Lavoi, generally. So what are we talking about? First, we're talking about Etzem Oir. That's why it's called that, because it's really beyond revelation. And what we're saying by Yom, it's going to be revealed. Nizgalo Lamata, when will that be? Lasid Lavoi. By Yom, on that day. So the word that has a double meaning. It's that, it's who, it's etzem oir. It's not a thing that by nature is revealed and experienced in Ishtalshalos. And the that who also means not presently, it's going to happen. By Yemahu. It's kind of a double meaning there. Yeah? We're clear? So Yom, Hazeh, Yom Ahu, we're clear the difference. The same thing he says is also true. Laila. There's Laila Hazeh and Laila Ahu. So first of all, Laila goes on Helem on Choshech. Which be'emes is, okay, I just note, I reversed the order of the mime we just learned. First they explained who and then zeh. But I put zeh and then who, because who ends up being lower. I didn't have to do that, I could have. And I also want to be consistent with the way Yoim is dealt with. So follow along with me. Laila helem choshech zeh. That's the choshech is nimshach mizgal lemata. But what level? It's a level. I should have written this a little bit. It's a level. Since it's Laila zeh, it's already a level that is can be revealed. It's not mamish the etzem. Therefore, can be revealed. And when it's revealed lemata, it retains its revealed property, it's identifiable, you see what it is. Then Laila, next line. Hahu, that's the Mailim that's higher than revelation. That's who, that's that. For Kolchkin, especially when we're speaking at the level of Cheshech Mamish in the Shoyrish. So that's really a deeper level, but the stars point out the consequence. The first star, Laila Hazeh. So in this level of Cheshech, the lower level of Cheshech, Laila Zeh, not the Laila Hu, but the lower level, which is Shaykh to Giloi. So Laila Zeh. So when that is revealed down here, what's the consequence? When God expresses that level within himself, the consequence is Margishim Shamatzev Cheshech. Hazeh, we feel the Matzev is Cheshech. That's Stam Hester, not Haster Aster. That's Hester. The Maimon didn't say it, but that's what it means. And I put in brackets, Al Dera Klippa Snoiga. It's a klippa, but you see that it's klippa, doesn't defy God, it conceals God, and says, I got to be dealt with, elevate me. It could be degraded, it could be elevated. But the two stars, which, Laila Hahu, which is Laila B'chalal, the union of what? Of Helem. In Helem, Gufa Hu, the deepest Helem, the way it is in the Shoydish, higher than Gili fundamentally. Laila Zeh means it has some connection to revelation, to otherness. This has no connection to otherness at all. Laila Hu. So that's the sib of the deepest golos, of the Hergesh HaYesh, that all I know is me. Ultimate Helem, which is the expression of the Yesh HaAmiti. This is the Yesh HaAmiti. This is the Yoshas Cheshech Sisroi. That's the sib of golos of Cheshech, of Laila Hu, which produces a hester of Hastir Astir. Should be used after the Tov. Hastir. And like the Aldera Shalkim Shatmei is complete concealment. Define God. Or really, Pare, who says, I am that I am. that I am is really rooted in the deepest I am of God. Baliלה, ההוא, the emes of Choshech, meaning to say the real etzem, which is totally beyond revelation. So in level it's higher, but we're concerned with consequence, the Rebbe says right away. But it's lower. For us, it's lower. It produces a lower matzah. We clear? Yeah, folks on the Zoom.
Yes, yes. And by the way, you did put it, you had asked there.
But yeah, you're right. Doesn't it needs a I thought the first one. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is inspired by Lakewood. I'm just coming from the Chassan in Lakewood. It's quite the experience. Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, not to really confuse us, the square brackets of the Hoyer. Let's try it together, friends. Now, the Hoyer, it's going to be a square brackets and a square brackets in the square brackets. What does square brackets mean as opposed to round brackets, friends?
Brackets are like more very like critical.
Which one are you talking about, the round or the square? The other one, let's get it clear. The Rebbe was the first to use, these, and what terms, how do you describe brackets, round? There must be a general term for this. Huh?
Parentheses, right?
I think the brackets are square ones and parentheses.
Yeah, parentheses are the rim.
Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, but the Rebbe there's a term for these symbols, two dots, and to you, there's a word for it in English. Gemara has no symbols.
Punctuation.
These are called punctuations? Okay, punctuations. The Rebbe was the first to use this in the Kutasichas. I mean, there's two dots, there's semicolon, there's colon, there's comma, there's period, there's round brackets, there's parentheses. I don't find this ever before. Now, it's very common. It's a fascinating observation. It started only in the Kutasichas in the later Chalakim. The Rebbe would use it in his, where it comes from. Because in his answers, his handwritten notes for brevity, underline, square, there's he uses all these. Okay, so the square brackets means it's adding a significant insight, but not relevant to the flow of the mimer and could be completely deleted. You don't have to learn it and you'll not miss anything in this mimer. It's a contrast to, it's tangential, basically, tangential. Round brackets is an explanatory note right now, what we're explaining, just adding it in brackets to clarify what we're talking about. So the round brackets are critical, and the square brackets are actually parenthetical. So it's like the whole thing is in a box that could be removed. What's only, which one?
You start with parentheses, and then if you add additional brackets, you would add brackets, and then you would even add that funny thing,
Those.
Yeah, I think it's just sequential, so as you're reading, you know where you are, not that it has a meaning. Like
I'm actually not following that because
when you're reading brackets, and you find brackets within the brackets, how do you know when you're inside or outside the brackets? You have to go back to see where was the first one and the second one. But if they're different symbols, you always know where you are.
okay, so it doesn't have a meaning. Doesn't have different meanings, you're saying.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I don't think it.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think it does.
I think one adds information, the other one clarifies.
That's in Torah.
Oh, I mean,
You guys are the masters of English grammar.
You're the lawyer.
You're the lawyer, yeah.
You have more of those things in one letter than any of us use our whole life.
But as long as you're consistent, it means whatever you want.
Okay, so it's beginning now the square brackets, so that means it's parenthetical. Well, the Hoyer, the Badrushim, Anal, Mavur, העניין הלילה הזה, ולא ידעו באופן אחר. In the מאמר mentioned before, so Laila Zeh and Laila Hu explained it differently. Ready for this? So let's just for a second not think about it, we just learned it. Let's see what he says here. Then contrast it. The Indian Yoim, when the Torah uses Yoim, Hushiyeshna Ria Belikus. That's a matzav. We can see godliness. We're aware of godliness. If not to see, which is like, we mean intellectual seeing, but with such absolute certainty, but at least an appreciation, understanding of godliness. Let's look at 32. 32. That's why the time of the Beis Hamikdash is called day, metaphorically. V'zman ha'golos v'shem laila, and golos is called night. V'zman ha'bayis so yibali ha'sogah g'doila. Time of the Beis Hamikdash, people had a deep grasp of godliness. Or b'liyosem l'regel. So that's when they're outside the Beis Hamikdash. When they went up on Yom Tov, he said some gam hariya belikus. So they had asoga, tremendous asoga and vision. They saw, beheld godliness. V'zman ha'golos lo yeshna hariya belikus. In the time of Golos, we don't see the hand of God. V'gam asogi b'dugmas keicham medamish b'shin. And understanding is poultry. It's like when you sleep. And you have keicham medama means it's imagination. It's like the imagination of sleep. You say, yeah, it's kind of clear, but it's not exactly. Makes sense. Doesn't make sense. As we'll say later. Seif Amadei Shlamet Ches. What does he mean? Maybe that's a different, not my print. Okay. Let's go back to the Maimer. So, yeah, so they means beholding godliness, or at least understanding. Oh, now what's Emunah? What's Laila? And Laila is Emunah. Emunah is higher, isn't it? Va'inyan Laila Hazeh. So what's Laila Hazeh? Different taisha. Shemunah b'toikiv godul b'tachlis eisamtus. A person's emunah like this, you can see it. His faith, although he doesn't see and doesn't understand, but it's much deeper than that. His conviction, his emunah is an absolute intensity. Or b'tachlis eisamtus means absolutely true and not subject to any discussion or debate. But dugma say something just like when you see something and you're convinced of it, and it's not a question of discussion, there's no room for discussion. That's what Laila Hazeh means. So this is what the Memorim say over there. They say, Sheleil Shimurim Hu Laila Hazeh, the night of watch, which is the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim, is called Laila Hazeh. HaLaila Hazeh, HaLaila Hazeh. To begin to show you Oz, what was revealed then, Zeh, revealed, Lahoi Ba'efon Shin is battle Cheshach HaLaila. It wasn't like there was no darkness. Shardain Hoye Bagolas hadn't left Egypt yet. So what's the word halayla hazeh? So what's illuminating? The Laila. Their emunah, their Laila was there. In absolute certainty. Like the absolute certainty of sight. Yeah? So bottom line is that those my body explaining that Laila says a gewaldige level of emunah that a yid has even in Zman HaGolus. In square brackets, also tangential, within the tangential, and that ends 4 lines from the end of this altogether square brackets. But he wants us to know this. Like he explained over there, how does a yid get to such a conviction of emunah? A very interesting thing coming. It's through their work, their servitude, which is making bricks and mortar. So how does it translate now in Aveda? שבכדי שיהיה לילה זה, in זמן הגולוס, should have the absolute conviction of אמונה, שגם בזמן הגולוס יהיה בחינת זה, that even in זמן הגולוס, his אמונה is absolute and tangible. So על ידי number one, העומל והיגיע basic התורה. It's through toil in Torah. How's that hinted to in Chayim B'Levenim? As the Zohar says, Chayim B'Levenim, Chayim da kal v'chayim. Chayim refers to the studying Torah and way of kal v'chayim. Or B'Levenim, bricks, will libon hilchasa, literally whitening and coming to the final purified conclusion, libon hilchasa. Okay, that we understand. So through toiling in Torah, in Zman HaGolus, a Yid comes to what? Laila has said that his emun is betoikev. He's not going to see and experience godliness because godliness is concealed. He's not from the neshamas gevayos for which there's no churban. But now he adds something which is quite extraordinary. I don't know the pshat. I have to look. Well, that is that they are omu vayigil. Listen to this. Betirdis apanosa bezeh sapecha teichalech. The toil, imagine. The toil and exertion in panosa, as the pasuk says, by the sweat of your brow you will eat bread. Like was there begashmis, like the Laila Zed that followed that of the Yitzias Mitzrayim, Shigil is out there vidosam b'chem b'balveinim chemem kipshutam through their literal slavery. So the Rebbe is saying, what did you think? That the toil in Panosa, l'chayda, you see Ashgacha Protes, you're going to see godliness. In your toil and exertion in Panosa, in Zman HaGolus, it's going to lead a year to Laila Zeh, absolute affirmation, absolute truth that God runs the world. Right? That's what you're seeing, guys, right? This is what it's a new taich over here, looks like in Pirkei Avos. Because look what it says there. There it says, Kol makabel olav el Torah. So if you accept the yoke of Torah, mavir mimeno el derech eretz. So heaven will remove from you the yoke of having to make a living. A Jew's got to be with a yoke. A Jew's adam la'amal yivaled or yulad. A Jew's born to toil. So your choice. You're going to toil in Torah, then you won't have to toil in what? In livelihood. Then it continues. And if you person casts off the yoke of Torah, he's given the toil of derech eretz, of the way of the world. And that sounds like a punishment. It's like a punishment. You're going to toil. It's your choice. Something virtuous or not. The Rebbe is saying chas v'shalom. If you can't, and he's not able, whatever reason, to toil in Torah, you're going to come to that conclusion of seeing there's a God in the world through what? El derech eretz. Ki, it's where did you think? I don't think this is anywhere. Ki gamli the derech eretz magim mechinas laila zeh. A Yid thrust him into the world and make him toil. He's going to come to the conclusion of laila zeh, the Eibishter runs the world in this deep and profound way. This deep emunah that you arrive at through toil in Torah, and perhaps even deeper. It's unbelievable touch in the Mishnah. Not that it's a punishment. It's, okay, not this way, we'll get you this way. We'll get you there the other way. We're not rejecting you. Okay, now we're going to reconcile this a little bit with we'll revisit the previous touch in Zeh and Hu, and Laila and Yom, and try and reconcile it all. Or at least harmonize it all. Okay, so Be'ez Hashem, tomorrow.